I'm Justin Dixon, and I'm the coordinator of the social science part of the FIEBRE study. So I travel between our sites and try to ensure that there is a degree of consistency in the questions that we're asking across the project, while also recognising that we're working in very different settings and want to iteratively adapt our research to fit that reality. So does FIEBRE mean the same thing in urban Zimbabwe as it does in rural Malawi or in Myanmar? Does it result in the same antimicrobial use practices? Absolutely not. And we're interested in both the parallels and the differences, and how we can use that contextual knowledge to complement FIEBRE's clinical findings to make positive changes in how fevers are treated in resource-limited settings. So as part of the initial phase of our social science work, we developed and used what we call the drug bag method, which is essentially a household survey tool to help us understand which antibiotics people are most familiar with and use in their day-to-day lives. So the method is based on the idea that you can't just turn up in people's homes and ask them whether they know about, for instance, metronidazole or ciprofloxacin, because people often don't use these biomedical words. So what we did was to bring physical samples of all the antibiotics that we could find locally, and to use these to aid recognition and have something concrete around which to conduct our surveys and interviews. And that's turned out to be a really engaging and productive exercise, and has helped us to understand patterns of antibiotic use as a precursor to our more immersive and longitudinal ethnographic fieldwork. So in terms of the ethnographic phase of our project, I've been most actively involved in Zimbabwe. And while our other researchers in Zimbabwe have been spending time in pharmacies, in marketplaces, and with residents, I've been working in clinics in Harare as well as a central hospital. And the aim here is to understand how clinicians understand what antibiotics are and what they do in relation to fever, and the circumstances in which they should and should not be used. And this is important, we think, to understand, because globally we're thinking about strategies for reducing antibiotic use, but we want to do this in a way that does not disrupt what it means in particular settings to deliver good care. So clinicians, we feel, aren't going to be comfortable with new guidelines, for instance, if the roles that antibiotics perform in care aren't properly compensated for.